Live breaking news, everybody. This is total and complete vindication. We have Fulton County, Fannie Willis's district. The election board just admitted one of the biggest frauds in the history of U.S. elections. I hope to God that this video doesn't get taken down, but this is so important because Trump was right. You and I were right when I went to sleep on that fateful day on voter day in November of 2020, thinking Trump won. He was ahead in Georgia, ahead in all these swing states. And then I woke up and Kamala was cackling. I was shocked. I know you were shocked too. This is total vindication. I'm going to break down everything that happened step by step. I'm going to also share with you a clip from Georgia Senator Dolezal, who we had on our show very recently. This is absolute and total retribution. It's exactly what we all felt in our guts was true, and now it's all come to fruition. The story really broke from Sean Davis as the Federalist, and I have verified it with multiple other sources. As I always do, I do my due diligence and I give it to you straight up. Here's exactly what happened. Fulton County, Georgia has just admitted publicly that about 315,000 early votes from the 2020 election were included in the certified results, even though required poll worker signatures were missing from the official tabulation tapes. A procedural violation under Georgia election rules. And remember this, everybody. Biden won Georgia by only 11,770 votes. So you do the math. The legal requirement is Georgia law requires that after each voting day, poll workers must print and sign multiple tabulation tapes from each voting machine to certify the vote count. A signed, quote, zero tape, end quote, at the start of the day is also required to show machines began with 0 votes. So I've done a bulleted kind of breakdown of the Federalist article. It's a very long article. If you want to read the full article, you can just Google Federalist Fulton County, and you will find it there. I'll probably just put it in the description or show notes down below. The county's admission, I'm going to play for you a clip of this too, at a December 9th hearing of this month, just a few weeks ago, before the Georgia State Election Board, Fulton County's attorney acknowledged the tapes were not signed and said the county does not dispute the allegation that this was a rule violation. Watch.
I've not seen the tapes myself, but we do not dispute that the tapes were not signed. It was a violation of the rule. Since 2020, but we don't dispute the allegation.
It's a little too late for that, isn't it? Don't you guys think? I mean, this should have been done years ago. They called Trump crazy. Anybody who even questioned the election results was canceled, banned on social media. They took Trump off Twitter. They banned many, many people who just had some questions like, what's going on here? It was a suppression tactic, censorship at the worst authoritarian state. Again, these are the real authoritarians. Let me continue, though. Officials have since updated, like she said. So here's the scope of the issue. An open records request by election integrity activist David Cross, who you saw in that clip sitting in front of the attorney, produced 134 tabulator tapes with blank signature blocks, covering approximately 315,000 votes, all lacking the required certification. A prior state investigation found that 36 of 37 advanced voting precincts failed to sign tabulation tapes, and 32 polling locations didn't even verify 0 tapes. They didn't verify 0 tapes as required. Here's a clip of this amazing gentleman who deserves a huge apology. He got lambasted in every way imaginable. I can only imagine what kind of threats he got, what his family, God knows what. Here's a clip of David Cross 4 years ago with a detailed review of the mail-in absentee ballots and the controversy that surrounds it. Watch.
All right, and then over the weekend, we started finding duplicate scan ballots. Now, Gabriel Sterling on June 18th on Twitter says, it's not possible, it didn't happen, and he's tired of answering the questions about it. What I'm going to show you here is two ballots side by side. One of them is marked for Jason Shaw, and it's got a little squiggle mark next to it. You can see it's got the identical mark on the second one. And the ballot image is stored up here on the top left. So this one over here is scanner 5162, that's scanner number 3, batch number 235, image number 19. And that matches 234, image 59. So you have the same ballot counted twice in the images and counted in the audit. How that's possible, I don't know. But what it says is that we need a full-blown audit, because you need to remember, what we're finding here is a tiny little bit of information inside of the absentee by mail ballots, which is only a fraction of all of Fulton County, and Fulton County is a part of Georgia. So we're zeroing in on a tiny, tiny microcosm, and this is what we're finding. I would imagine if we're finding this in Fulton County, we're probably going to find it throughout the state. And the question is, why did it happen? Why did the Secretary of State indebt Georgians to $208 million for a system that can't even count dollar bills the way that your bank can count dollar bills?
Unbelievable. There's also additional concerns that were raised. Cross also highlighted other regularities in the records. Polling locations reported open into the early morning hours after 2 a.m. on some days. Remember, Trump talked about this. They just dump them in the middle of the night. Duplicate scanner serial numbers where memory devices were moved between machines, raising chain of custody questions. Cross also argues that because the statutorial required tapes were not signed, these votes were uncertified by definition and therefore should not have been counted under Georgia law. So he's urging the state election board to impose sanctions, require public acknowledgement of the violations, and potentially decertify Fulton County's advanced voting results to place a permanent record of the issues. And I think a lot worse should happen. Counties, an official response, Fulton County acknowledged the procedural violations, did not dispute it. As I said earlier, the Georgia Secretary of State has not publicly commented in detail on the specific acceptance of unsigned tabulation tapes. My fellow Americans, this is the most foul, corrupt, unbelievably criminal act ever committed in any election anywhere. Trump, everything they tried to do to Trump when Trump was just calling Raffensperger and saying, all I need is 11,000 votes. He wasn't saying like, just make them up. He was saying it's impossible. Like we all felt they've got to be there. Something's going on in your state. There's no way we lost Georgia. He knew it in the bones of his marrow, and he's proven right yet again. There's billions and billions of dollars of fraud in Minnesota. Gavin Newsom, billions and billions of dollars, a homelessness industrial complex, fraud. Washington, D.C., tons of fraud. The police chief just resigned in disgrace. She allowed crime to happen. She cooked the books. The Epstein files, which I've got so much fatigue, has completely backfired. Their approval rating is at 18%. I mean, how much longer are we going to wait until we actually designate the Democrats as a terrorist organization that are destroying our country? This is why you got to make this video go viral. You have to tap the thumbs up and share it with everybody. Otherwise, we're going to still have polluted brains, aka our fellow neighbors, citizens, and family members out there spewing this garbage, hate, committing heinous acts upon our institutions, in our neighborhoods, etc., all these tragic incidents at Brown University. That's just one of many, have all been committed by these ridiculously brain dead minions that are falling for this crap. I want to share this with you. The guy that we had on our show, Georgia State Senator Dolezal, he had something to say about this, and he actually created a video on this. But first, I'd be remiss if I didn't share a clip of the dame herself, Cash Money G, Fannie Willis, whose county this election fraud happened is hers, where she states, "I'm the greatest DA in the country. How dare you question me?" Remember the hearing? Here's Fannie Willis when questioned about her budget. Listen to this answer. I have to share this.
What was the rough total operating budget of your office last year?
I don't know that. It's probably around $40 million. That's a speculation and a guess. That includes state money, grant money, and that's not an exact number.
Please, God, give me the confidence of an incompetent, unqualified DA. I mean, this person is acting, Cash Money G is acting like she has not done a thing wrong. She's disgraced. She got disqualified. She got caught stealing, caught having an affair. I mean, what else do you need? She completely got disqualified. The case got completely dismissed. The case that was supposed to give her fame and glory and propel her career. And she acts like she's the hero. Can you believe this? You mean to tell me you don't know? You oversee every particle of your office at the district attorney's office in Fulton County. You have no idea what your operating budget is? Could you imagine somebody in charge of a department in any company in these United States of America getting away with that kind of an answer? I have no idea. It could be a couple million. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. What? And this isn't just like blindsiding her, coming to her office and asking her a question or catching her on the street. This is a hearing. She knew well in advance they were going to ask these questions. And all of this election fraud happened under her watch. Are we connecting the dots here, folks? Here's Senator Dolezal, who we had on our show. If you missed that interview, it was groundbreaking, where he dropped and spilled some serious tea that was behind the scenes. I'll share a link to that in the pinned comment and in the show notes down below. If you haven't seen that interview, it's phenomenal. Listen to what he says about this.
All right, a couple quick thoughts on the Fulton County rule violation in the 2020 election that was just finally adjudicated before the state election board. First and foremost, this is exactly why Burt Jones, Brandon Beach, and myself called for a special session at the Georgia General Assembly back in 2020. We were chastised by Jeff Duncan and a bunch of our party leadership, but the reality is this should have been investigated in 2020 before the election was certified, not in 2025. That brings me to my second point. Why in the world is the state of Georgia having to rely on private citizens playing private investigator on their own time to uncover these irregularities? Fulton County was under observation by the Secretary of State's office in 2020. This should have been caught by them. This should have been investigated by them, and it should have been done immediately. And that brings me to my third and final point. It's always Fulton County.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Senator Dolezal. It's always Fulton County. When you have cancer, what's the first thing? God forbid any of us have cancer. What's the first thing the doctors say? We got to get rid of the tumor. We have to excise the damaged cells and the damaged tissue and the infected areas, et cetera, right? I'm not a doctor, but essentially that's what they do. Fannie Willis has been a cancer since day one. What's happened in Fulton County is just a microcosm of the spreading of that disease, of the spreading of that corruption, that pollution. And I can only imagine, as David Cross says, what's happened across the entire state if it's happening in Fulton County. This is unbelievable. This vindicates Trump. It vindicates everything. I can only imagine. Here's my question to you. If this was just uncovered now in Fulton County, what do you think happened in states like Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Pennsylvania in 2020? With all intents and purposes, and I've said this many, many times, this is not groundbreaking. I know you felt it. I know you sensed it. I know because you're smart. You're here. You're watching this. You must be smart. There's no way in a billion years you can ever convince me, proof or not, that vegetable-in-chief Biden defeated Trump and got 15 million more votes than the Black Messiah, Barack Obama. There's no way in a trillion years you'll ever be able to convince me of that. So what happens next? There needs to be some lawsuits. There needs to be some serious consequences. I hope Trump does something. I hope the DOJ does something. Harmeet Dillon, the Assistant Attorney General, she actually has filed a lawsuit against Georgia. The board and everybody tried to deny it and quash it, but the Supreme Court of Georgia said, no, it's going to move forward. So I'm going to keep you posted on everything that happens with that. Fannie Willis needs to be disbarred. She needs to face criminal charges. She needs to be put behind bars, really, not just disbarred. And so hopefully these things will enact and launch and unfold in a very quick manner, because justice needs to be served immediately for the American people. You could almost say, with all intents and purposes, Joe Biden did not win in 2020. I mean, logistically, not just conspiratorially anymore, not just out of emotion or what have you, but this is now based on evidentiary, substantive facts. I can't wait to get your comments on all of this. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. By the way, they all watch this show. Senator Dolezal, the Georgia State Election Board, Fannie and all her staff. Let them know what you think in the comments down below. This is your chance. We helped that beautiful Target employee, Jeannie Beeman, with your help and your comments and your energy and your do something, go get her attitude. So now is your chance. Let them know what you think in the comments down below, and tap that thumbs up if you love America. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right here. Just in case you missed them, tap my face right here to subscribe and follow. It's absolutely free. And as always, may God bless you, and may God bless the USA and all who defend her. I'll see you soon.